It's time we give back. Sow a seed and show someone where love's at. Even if you don't give a dime, give your heart and share your time. Help somebody else in life. Give back. Let's give back. Don't forget that you.
Hello, my name is Hosea James Givan II, and welcome to another episode of Ignite, Empower, Transform. Our show, we showcase urban superheroes, brothers and sisters that give back to their community. Today we have two very, very special guests, two of my favorite people from Harlem, the Harlem Alphas. To my left, your right, Mr. Larry Blackmon. To my right, your left, Mr. Darrell Canty. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
My brothers.
Thank you for having
What's
us.
happening?
All right, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, brother.
Delighted to be here. We've heard a great deal about this this show, and we know there's a long waiting list to be here, and we're happy that we made the cut to talk about some great programming that we're doing in the village of Harlem.
Well, we do a lotto system, so you guys got picks.
Oh,
okay. All right. Fantastic.
I'm just surprised we haven't been called to be here earlier. But nevertheless, we're here, and we have a lot to discuss about some of the wonderful things we do.
Absolutely. So brothers, first of all, I want to say I have a lot of admiration and respect for both of you brothers. Darrell, I've known you 30 some years.
That's about right.
And Larry, not as long, but the bond is deep, man, because you've come through for me personally at a very, very critical stage. And at a certain point in your life, audience, you may have a challenge that you're dealing with, and you'll get to know who your true friends are. And I can say these two brothers to my left and right were there for me at a critical stage, and I do appreciate that forever.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
You're a godsend, and we'll always be there for you.
Thank you, brother. So let's get into the topic today. First of all, let's tell us something about what you guys do in Harlem in terms of Harlem Alphas. Your chapter is?
Our chapter is the affectionately known as the Harlem Alphas. It's the Alpha Gamma Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. We're about to celebrate our Founders Day, our chartering date. We were founded in 1926, and we are a strong chapter, one of the more historic chapters in all of Alpha Phi Alpha. There are many chapters in New York City. Arguably all of them have roots to Alpha Gamma Lambda. And so I am honored to serve as president, and we have some great men who've walked through the doors of Alpha Gamma Lambda. First of all, one of our founders. We have Charlie Rangel, Mayor David Dinkins, just to name a few. And there are individuals whose names are not as prominent, but whose work and legacy have touched the lives of thousands of individuals, not just in Harlem, but all throughout New York City and beyond. And as I said, it's the ability to be able to serve in a leadership capacity, not necessarily as president, but any way to serve, has been an honor for Brother Canty and myself, and for the entire team. We even have a brother here who is involved in this campus, right here at BronxNet, right here in the Mercy College campus, who's transforming lives. And so
we have to pause here because you just mentioned a legend in my book.
Yes.
So we have to acknowledge that person. Let's get a name for this brother.
Yes. So just to let everyone know, his name is Brother Scorpio Rogers.
Yes, sir.
He's a phenomenal brother.
One of my favorite.
I love him even more as a Jets fan. So it's a diehard Jets fan myself. But seriously, in all seriousness, I say that to say that there are gentle giants that we have. And
Mal Good, I don't know if you know that name, but
yes.
Mal Good is I'm sure Brother Scorpio would tell you when he first joined the chapter.
Yep.
Mal Good was a member of that chapter, and he is.
Let me tell you about Mal Good. While I was at New York Institute of Technology, I had a project with Mal Good. Mal Good pledged at the Omicron chapter in Pittsburgh, but I had a chance to meet him and receive tutelage from him.
Is that right?
Yes, for it's funny how these things come up. But Mal Good, he was one of the pioneers in journalism.
Black journalism.
And he was a major presence in ABC News and black journalism abroad. Great man.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, can you share with us, brothers, we're a service organization.
Absolutely.
We're all members of the same fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha. And a lot of times people get the notion that we're a social organization because they hear about fraternities hanging out at parties, but you guys are part of an alumni chapter.
Yes.
So that's the distinction, right? Because you have college chapters and you have alumni chapters. So you guys are part of the alumni chapter. Can you share with us some of the projects and programs that you guys are involved with in the Harlem community?
Sure, absolutely. Over the last few years, our chapter has been very active in the Harlem community. So whether it's working to feed individuals, feed homeless individuals, or feed those in need during the Thanksgiving season, our go to high school, go to college Young Achievers program is based at Harlem Hospital. We have brothers that have been working in partnership with the Links for years. For years out of Harlem Hospital, transforming the lives. Transforming the lives of young men. We've done a number of service projects. We actually this year just held a fundraiser, and all of the proceeds were donated to the Harlem Jets football team. And so that's the type of spirit that we operate in. We are planning one of our larger events. Many of your viewers may not know that Brother Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Was a member of our fraternity.
That's right.
And so about 5 years ago, we launched the first, what we call Living the Dream event, during his birthday weekend to commemorate him and also to honor individuals in the community who are living up to the spirit of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And so we're gearing up for that event. That's coming up in January 12th. Brother Canty is the chair and can talk a little bit more about what we're doing and what we're planning.
Yes, Living the Dream is our signature event, and we plan on having it on January 12th, 2018 at the Gray Bar Building. For those that are interested, you can receive more information on the Harlem Alphas page, harlemalphas.org. And they can also receive more information at ltd2018.eventbrite.com if you're interested in attending the event. However, we're going to have a reception gala. It's a not formal, but it's a black tie, dark suit optional. We plan on celebrating the achievements of folks that are doing the work that Dr. King has, we're part of Dr. King's tenets, and his I Have a Dream speech.
Okay.
And we plan on looking at some of these individuals' accomplishments and celebrating them and holding them up high.
That's the way you do
because that's what we need to do in our community. We need to celebrate each other.
And just to add another point to that, if I could, Brother Givan,
Sure.
Many of us, those of us who are active in the community, we always go to these banquet dinners and individuals are honored, and it always seems like you have the same 10 people, 15 people from the community, names everyone knows, who are honored, either primarily because they're donating money or they can sell tickets to the event. And there are some, true unsung heroes.
Absolutely.
Right, that spans the generational spectrum that are never recognized.
Yes.
And so what we're trying to do is several things. We're trying to recognize those individuals, honor new leadership, and let everyone know that there can be a balance and a mix of people that folks understand and know, but also that sort of next level generational leadership that's doing the work, right, that Dr. King hoped to live through. But are not known, right? And so that's what we hope to accomplish with this event.
So and I'm very honored to know that I was a part of that one of the
Absolutely.
years as a
Yes, you
recipient
were.
Absolutely.
of that award. So and that's one of my great pleasurable experiences, bro.
Absolutely.
I'm very proud. Moment.
Thank you.
Can you share with us some of the honorees, some of the people that you're going to showcase this year?
Absolutely.
Well, some of the honorees you may be familiar with. One of the honorees is a very important member of the Mercy College community. He's also been a guest here of yours at the BronxNet Give Back, and that's Scorpio Rogers.
Okay, we just mentioned Brother Rogers. Okay.
Scorpio Rogers
Well deserved.
Is a well-deserved honoree. He's been doing the work of our fraternity for 35 years and beyond, and he's touched many folks in the Mercy family and in his endeavors over the years as educator, administrator, and professor. So we salute him to the highest degree. We also have an educator, an outstanding educator in Miss Karen Maldonado. She is also a soror of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. She's been an educator and she's in leadership. She's a couple of notches, maybe a notch below Carmen Farina. So that's how, that's where she's at in her career. But she's also one of those folks that we don't honor, or her work is sort of like in the shadows, and we want to make sure that she receives that attention at the gala reception on the 12th of January.
Okay.
Sure. We're and just to piggyback on Dr. Maldonado, you know, she's a former principal here in the Bronx, and went back to Harvard to get her doctorate.
Wow.
And came back and now places principals in schools.
Okay.
She works directly in communities where there's a need. We are honoring Dr. Kelly Bryant, who is at Columbia University. Bright young lady who's really, really making a difference in the world of nursing.
Okay.
We are honoring Barbara Martin, who's Miss Barbara Martin, who's a legend in and of herself with the Lynx. Ray Ramirez, who is also one of our fraternity brothers, and many people may not know this. He was the head trainer for the New York Mets.
That's right.
For the last, say, 20 years.
That's right.
And so, great individual. And there are, you know, several others that we're honoring. But that gives you a sense of where we're going with the event. And we are really thrilled. Brother Malik Goodson. Malik Goodson is another mover and shaker.
That's right.
Who is doing the work in the communities, guiding young men. He's very active in our fraternity.
Very active.
And is, when you meet him, he definitely, you know, there's something to be said for presence, right? And Brother Goodson is someone who definitely has that presence, and it rubs off on people. So,
and very committed to the
absolutely. Absolutely.
And so in rolling this out, we wanted to make sure that we had a nice selection, a menu of folks from different backgrounds to honor. Not just, and we also wanted to make sure we wanted to honor one of our own as well. And the process was very, very, you know, very trying, and there was a lot of candidates that we could have chosen, but I think we selected 7 of the best for 2018.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for this first segment, brothers. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk more about the Harlem Alphas.
Fantastic. Thank you.
What if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow. My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
Hi, I'm your host, Larry V. Stark Jr.
I'm your host, Rachel Cheeks Givan.
I'm your host, Hosea James Givan II.
I'm your host, Rebecca Givan.
Tune in to
Ignite,
Empower,
Transform
every Tuesday night
at
8 p.m.
on BronxNet.
Give back, let's give back.
Welcome back to Ignite, Empower, Transform. We are here with 2 brothers of my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, Larry Blackmon and Darrell Canty. Brothers, can you just share with us, our audience, tell us something about yourselves, bro? Because I should have started with that, but let's get back into it in this segment.
Sure. Brother Hosea, I work for a great company by the name of Fresh Direct. Hopefully some of the viewers may have heard of us. We are the leading e-commerce food grocer in the Northeast. I currently serve as Vice President of Public Affairs, where I'm responsible for our public engagement, government relations, corporate philanthropy, and many other aspects of the company. My passion, believe it or not, and that, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the secret is about to come out of the bag, and hopefully some of you have joined me, but my passion is music, and so I also love to DJ. I love playing music and love the feeling of seeing the reaction. So
He does his thing, y'all. I'm trying to tell you. He cuts it up.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
I am a teacher. I'm an educator for the District 19 in Brooklyn. It's funny how life comes in 360 degrees, where I grew up in Brooklyn. I received my formal training in Brooklyn, and after stops in Long Island and Marist College, St. John's, I wound up right back in Brooklyn teaching public school. And I think it's a great challenge of mine to shape the minds of young people. There's a need for African American men.
No question.
In the classroom.
No question.
Kids need to see that we're interested, that we care, that we demand a certain level of excellence, especially when it comes to academics. And I take that very seriously. I know that I'm a role model, and alphas always lead from the front.
So brothers, that leads right into my next question. You mentioned alpha, and I consider alphas supermen. I'd like for you guys to both tell me, what are your superpowers? What would you consider to be your superpowers?
I'm able to move in and out of various segments of the community, especially when it comes to communicating with folk. I don't feel that I am above anyone that I touch or come in contact with. I can communicate with the common man. I can communicate with the man in the three-piece suit.
Walk with kings, nor lose the common touch.
Absolutely.
So I feel it's important that I maintain that that level of humanity, especially when it comes to dealing with my people. That's, to me, that's a very important characteristic.
Sounds pretty powerful to me.
It makes me super.
That sounds pretty super.
Able to leap tall buildings with a single bound.
Look up in the sky. DC, what's up, Fred?
Hosea, I would say that my skill would be the ability to connect with people. You know, over my time,
I'd have to agree with that one.
Over my time working in government, you know, you have to have a compassionate heart in order to help people. And sometimes some of the stories and the pain, you have to feel it. We're not robots. You know, you can walk down the street in any community and you can see pain on people's face.
That's right.
Or you look at an elderly person and you can almost look at their entire life as they walk. And so I would say that my one superpower, if I could say that, would be the ability to connect with people. You know, when someone calls and says, hey, I need help, can you help me with this? Or we have to do this, we have to get together.
I'm a witness. You're real. This real talk. He's just not saying it. This is real talk. I'm a witness. He's been there, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show. He's a brother that I can honestly say is a true supporter of the community and people who are in the community doing community work. So both valuable superpowers, and we need obviously more of it because we're in some challenging times. We had an opportunity to talk last night at an event, and we talked about some of the challenges that we're facing as a nation, as a world. And it's important now that leaders lead.
Yes.
I mean, we really need leaders on all levels, particularly at the grassroots level. We have to get the community more engaged in activities, get used to being out there.
Yes.
Right? We're living in a world that's very apathetic.
Hosea, I just have to tell you that's why the work of Alpha Phi Alpha is so important. That's why the work that you do is so critically important. Just the name of this program alone, Ignite, Empower, Transform. We need some ignition in our community. And it's incumbent upon brothers like yourself, brothers like Brother Canty, who's in the face of these kids every single day.
Amen.
when I grew up in public housing, and I am one of the only ones who graduated and is still alive. Let's just say that. Let's start with alive, and then graduated from the building in my generation. So it's very, very important, and that's why the work that the Harlem Alphas is doing has sort of taken a new level, right? Because the need is so great, and there's so few of us. If one person watches this show and their fuse is lit and ignited, it is incumbent upon you to empower them. And with that empowerment, lives will be transformed.
There you go.
And we are appreciative of you having us here. That 1 second that somebody could be turning the channel, and best believe that we're going to send out information on our social media networks, talk to folks about this program, because there are examples in history where communication changed the hands of power in nations, right?
Yes, sir.
And so we're not only here to promote our event, but to tell the story that Alphas are leading the way, that here are some men that are out in the community, and it's tiring and it hurts sometimes.
Oh, yes, it does.
You know, you take that pain home.
Yes, it does.
You take it home to your family.
It's troubling when I speak to the kids that I see every day in school, and they limit their opportunities. They limit themselves to the opportunities that's out there in this world that we live in. Many of the kids want to do two things. A lot of them aspire to be basketball players, which is fine, or rappers. We've all had that dream.
Absolutely.
But what I preach to them, if you're going to aspire to do that, make sure that you also have an education. Because you know the statistics, Hosea.
Oh, it's all too well.
You know the statistics, Larry. So I preach access. Make yourself the best student that you can possibly be, because you're going to be competing against that student that you're sitting next to. You're going to be competing against that student in Minnesota. You're going to be competing against that student that's coming from another country abroad. And so I preach that. You want access, you want options, you want to be able to do anything that you put your mind to it. But you need to get an education, and you need to expand your mind. And therefore,
Well
when
said.
the opportunities come to you, you'll know how to approach
You're
it.
ready.
Well said. You just shared with me that you have a new project that you're working on, a book.
Yes, yes. So there are two projects that I'm
books?
working. 2 books.
Wow, I didn't
Two
know
book
that.
projects. So the first one, actually, there's a gentleman by the name of P.K. Kersey, who's a great individual, and he has the ability to bring folks to rally around him. And what he did was he reached out to about 20 young African American men and asked each one of them to write a chapter for a book on success. What made us successful? So that's the first piece that's coming out. And my father, who is Larry Blackmon of the group
It's
Cameo.
like candy.
Yes, it's like candy, word up and everything. So we are working, pleased to announce, and you're the first one, so you have the inside scoop, Hosea, that we are working on a book project together, a father and son project
That's
that is
beautiful.
a labor of love.
That's beautiful.
We speak all the time, and we are brothers, and so it's time to put some of those conversations in writing.
That's beautiful.
Good. I do a little writing too. Larry's not the only superstar at this table. No. No, I write for a publication called Legacy Magazine.
Oh, dude, I didn't realize that, man.
Right, and we articulate the success of black businesses and entrepreneurs in South Florida. But being that we are now in an internet society, these articles and publications, this information is disseminated.
It's global now.
It's global. So I've been writing with that organization for since 2010.
Well, you know
And
what?
the,
As you
publisher-
mentioned that, I do know the publisher very well.
What's his name?
My dear friend, Dexter Bridgman.
Shout out to Mr. Dexter Bridgman.
Yes, sir. Would you please just share with us some closing remarks for our audience as we close up this particular segment?
Sure. On January 12th, 2018, we're going to live the dream. We're keepers of the dream. And we're honoring 7 fantastic people who are exhibiting many of the virtues of the dream. And I want you to be there. So please, if you plan on coming out to help us celebrate and honor each other and uplift each other, reach out to ltd2018.eventbrite.com for your tickets. And I can assure you that on January 12th, you will have an excellent time in helping us celebrate the work of Alpha.
Larry?
On behalf of the Alpha Gamma Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, affectionately known as the Harlem Alphas, I would like to thank you for tuning in tonight. I would like to thank the host and the entire team here at Ignite, Empower, and Transform for the opportunity to speak. I just want to share with you one historic piece, if I could. On an ice cold day, on December 4th, 1906, 7 brave young men came together to form something that, since its inception, has transformed the world. We are stewards of that vision and that legacy, and I am proud to stand here today as a part of this to share a little bit of what we do. But now it's incumbent upon you to take that leadership that we hopefully convey and put it out in your community. Ignite, light a fuse, empower, teach others, right? Teach others how to do something and transform. I'll leave you with this thought. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King had a speech that's not one of the more well-known speeches, but it is no less important. And the name of that speech is called Be the Best. So whether you can, if you're going to be a doctor, be the best doctor that you can be. If you're going to sweep streets so well that even Michelangelo would look and say, there goes a street sweeper who did his job well. So I want to thank you for tuning in, and please let this be a rallying cry for you to go out and ignite, empower, and transform. And once again, on behalf of the Harlem Alphas, thank you for having us.
Well, this has been a really inspiring, uplifting episode of Ignite, Empower, Transform. I am moved myself. We have 2 powerful brothers that are providing leadership and showing direction as we need it in these times. Tune in next week, 8 p.m. on Tuesday, for the next episode of Ignite, Empower, Transform. Thank you for joining us.
It's time we give back. Someone see and show someone what love's at. Even if you don't give a dime, give your heart and share your time. Help somebody else and learn, give back.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish.
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Ignite,
Empower,
Transform.
every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. on BronxNet.
Give back. Let's give back.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.